Today in VR, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution has come out for PC VR and PlayStation VR 2. That is a long title. It's already out on Quest 2 as well, and we give our initial impressions of the game, and even Samson jumps into it. Elsewhere, we've had a new Patreon who's really into seated/relaxing titles, so we talk about our favorite ones on Quest 2, including the movie somewhat VR experiences that you can jump into for free or for a smaller cost as well. All that and more, so let's talk Oculus. Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 80. I'm Dan, your host as always from Playtest VR, and I'm joined by Samson, the co-host. How are you doing?
Hello. I am doing well. Got in a lot of VR, got to the VR arcade. We got ourselves a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about, yeah. I've also played quite a bit of VR, but mostly on the competitor on the PlayStation VR 2. And well,
Listen,
I mean,
we don't need no console wars here, right? We all just on the side of VR.
that's true. We just want the side of VR, and I mean, let's start it off with the game that's on the Quest 2, as well as the PSVR 2, and that's The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, which is a long title. We've both been playing it. You've been playing it on Steam, right? The PC VR version.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And I've been playing it on the PlayStation VR 2. Obviously, this game came out on the Quest 2 back in November, I want to say, last year. Yeah, it came out with a lot of bugs on the Quest 2, but as far as I'm aware, they fixed most of that, if not all of it now, and it's pretty smooth running. It just had a rocky start to the game.
It was pretty like underwhelming from like I just feel like I heard about bugs. I heard them like paying people to try to tell them people that the bugs were fixed.
Mm.
And then I didn't really hear much about the game itself outside of it having a chainsaw.
Yeah. Absolutely. It just kind of came, and then because of the bad kind of press that it got, it just disappeared. And I've not heard of it since, and this is kind of like a relaunch for them. Just on that though, we haven't been paid to talk about it. We've just got an early access code.
Yes.
So it's just we've just got the game early, that's all. Samson, is someone who's not a fan of horrors typically, apart from obviously your confession of playing Resident Evil last week. What did you think about it? How much have you played of the game so far?
I like the idea of horror more than I actually like living in horror. Yeah, also, to be fair, I never really played much of the first one. I think I played the tutorial, first like 45 to an hour of the first Walking Dead, like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And I played about the first hour of this one. Looks great graphically. Similar to the last one. Handles very similar. Tutorials the same. I made sure to put on easy. And it made it much less like scary. Like you never get too over. I hadn't yet gotten too overwhelmed. They just come at me. I grab their head. I just shove my knife in their head, or grab their head. Boom, headshot. I can't miss, and they never grab me.
So you're in a comfortable setting. Yeah.
And the only jump scare that happened, I kind of knew it was going to happen. I was like, "Oh, they're going to come from behind me," and I turned, and then boom, they came from behind me. And how about you? I know you played more than I have.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot more of the first one, right?
Yeah, just to set the context here, the first one I played, I almost finished it. I think I played 6 or 7 hours of it. I played it a lot. I used to, because that game came out on Quest 2 launch day, so it was one of the games that I played often where. Before I go to bed, I'd be like, okay, let me just put an hour in this. Yeah, no, I mean, I like the horrors. I'm a bit sick in the head. We've played a lot of horrors. We're a little bit numb to it. But I used to, in my room, always just put it in. And I honestly never really got scared in the first game that much. Obviously, initially, when you first face the walkers and you go into dark paths and such, but you kind of get
getting overwhelmed is what gets me. You're just like, oh my God,
when
there's
you have
too
so
many of them. Yeah.
Yeah, when you have so many. I mean, I was pretty good with a baseball bat, which is wrapped with barbed wire. I was pretty good with it. So I never worried too much, but I never finished it, and I kind of regretted not finishing it before this game because if anyone's listening or watching this who is interested to pick this up but haven't played the first game or haven't played much of the first game, I would advise not to pick this up yet until you have played a bit.
Did
Go
it
on.
come with the first game, when the one that you bought? Like, can you play the first game on PSVR 2?
You can on launch day, but you need to own it. You need to own it. I do own it. I had the original on PSVR because they released it on PlayStation Plus for free, and I
Okay.
just
Yeah,
down
yeah.
I even if I didn't have the PSVR, I just had it in my
I think
library.
that's what you got to do. I think
Yeah,
you gotta.
that's what I'm gonna do. I said, well, as soon as the actual release date comes out, I'm probably going to go back and just play the first
Wait,
one first.
did you say it's free to add into your PS Plus?
Yeah, when
Or it
when it
was?
was, it's not on PlayStation Plus anymore, but
I got you.
you know, they release two games every month or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And they used
it
to,
was one of them. Yeah.
it was one of those back in the day, and I just added it. I added all the VR titles, like I have After the Fall and such like that. So I could upgrade if I wanted to. It's a $10 upgrade, so I just paid the $10 to get the upgrade. I haven't got the code for that one yet, but I already have it, so it was just gonna be when the release date is. But this game's interesting because there is a tutorial which is exactly the same, like you said, cut and copy and paste from the original game's tutorial. But the good thing about the original game is that the first hour of the original game is still more of a tutorial to understand how to craft, how to
Yeah.
navigate through, and it goes a bit slow at the start just to help you understand how to do it. Where this one kind of throws you into the deep end straight away,
It
which is
assumes you've played the first one,
yeah, which is why I'm
or you
saying
know the
like
mechanics. Yeah.
you should already, and plus when you finally get through the first like opening section of chapter 2, you end up going back to your base and you have a lot of like weapons already done and such. And if you played the first one, you understand what to do with your base, you understand how to go to the next day by going to
The
sleep
recipes and all
and
that. Yeah.
such. Yeah, where they don't tell you how to do that in the second one because once again they assume you play. So if you just jump straight into this one, go now I'm just going to pick this one up. It's a bad idea because you'll be a bit lost. But
Yeah.
I've played a few hours of it, like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. I guess that's not a few, but just a little bit. I played a few of the big sections, and I like it
Yeah,
really. I like
it
it.
is what, like a 15-hour game, I think.
Chapter 2, good question. I don't know. The first game was like 8 to 12 hours. 8 to 12 hours. 8 if you rush it, 12 if you like go through and such. So I think it might be the same. It does feel like an expansion more than anything at the same time. It just feels
Yeah,
like
about
because
10 to 12 hours.
yeah, so all the environments, as far as I'm aware so far, are the same as the first game. There might be some new areas which I just don't know yet because I haven't played enough yet. But it is more of the same in a way, just there's another story. There's chapter 2. There's the next part of the story and such.
I think I've unintentionally just found a new VR news source, the vrgrid.com.
Yeah, I know the VR grid. I know the VR grid. Yeah, yeah. I've used the VR grid before. How do you like did you like the way the game is? Is it more because it is obviously there's horror aspects, but it's more of a survival
Yeah, yeah.
than a horror?
This is why I don't like this game, is because of all the crafting and all that business. It's just too deep.
Mm,
This is why I lose. Yeah, I understand that I should play the first one before I play this one, 100%. I was hopping in for the people, look at it graphically. I love just hopping into different VR like worlds, like and just being
yeah,
immersed in
see
them.
what I was like.
And it's pretty good looking. Like the lighting's very good, the shadows look good. I've watched a good amount of other videos of it. There's a few bugs I've seen.
Mm,
And I've seen a couple of videos of the chainsaw that makes me kind of want to craft the chainsaw.
mm.
But yeah, it looked pretty sweet, cutting people in half and whatnot.
It
Pretty
does like
gross.
very Gears of War kind of feel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and satisfying like that. But I haven't obviously not got the gate chainsaw yet, but I haven't crafted them yet, but I've just unlocked these gloves that the gloves have like spikes or whatever on, so you can just punch you just
That's
punch all
cool.
these, which I can't wait to do because that's the thing with this game, there's a lot of crafting. involved. Like technically, you could get through the game without crafting, and you would be fine. But you're not gonna have as much fun because you want to get the
That's the cool
fun.
weapons.
It's the fun
Yeah.
weapons, right? Yeah, exactly. And you can't just like say the gloves with this, or say the chainsaw. You can't just craft the chainsaw. You need to learn how to craft it. And I think they do this
Yeah.
in a lot of games, right? Where you have to, as you're going in the world, you'll find like a recipe card or whatever on how to craft it, and then you'll be able to
And then you can do it. Yeah.
make it and such. Yeah. Um, what else do I need to say about this game? I really like this game in terms of how relaxed it is. And let me explain where it's like an open world, but it's not. Like it has open world elements where you go into a map, and then you got the whole world, the whole like area
Well,
that
some
you can.
homes you can go into, and yeah.
Yeah, you can go through some homes. There's a few walkers here and there. There might be a ton of walkers coming at you and such. I realize if you just walk around slowly, it's very easy not to get scared. It's I've always got scared when I've gone quickly, and then oh shoot, there's one
Run
person
around.
right there.
Yeah.
But the visuals on PlayStation, and obviously it'll be the same for the PC VR version, is amazing, and the lighting is really, really good. And that's what really adds to it, where you're using the torch, and you really need to use that torch because
Right,
otherwise,
because you had only played on the Quest before.
I only played on the Quest. The Quest's still good in terms of lighting. I'm not gonna lie, it's still good, but it does feel like a generation below or something like
Yeah.
that, right? But you're still gonna have a great experience if you're gonna play on the Quest, is what I would say. Like I haven't played Chapter 2 on the Quest, but I played Chapter 1, and it's still really good and really immersive. So if you haven't picked it up, I'd definitely recommend it. The other thing I wanted to say is that I really like the fact that you have a diary on your chest, and you look at your diary, and there's like different objectives that you do, and it doesn't really handhold you too much. Like it just tells you your objective, and then you got to kind of figure it out on the map where you have to go. It's pretty obvious. It's not like you're gonna get lost, but it's
Yeah.
not too handholdy where this is where you have to go.
It's not like a beacon. Yeah.
No, it's not like a beacon. You kind of got to figure out, okay, that's probably what I'm looking for. Let's walk, just go towards that area. But there's also side missions, and there's like optional missions. But if you do the optional mission, it gives you a hint on how to do the main mission a bit more. So for example, the last one I just did, there was I had to get to the third story of this tower and play like a radio message. But there was an optional message. So I went through the optional, I went through this other building, and there was so many walkers, and it was pitch black and such. So you had to just slay your way through that. And eventually you find a note, and that note tells you two different routes to go, and it tells you one route you shouldn't go to
Okay.
get to this tower. Because if you go that one route, it tells you not to. It's full of. It's not even the
Is
zombies,
it
the
just more
walkers.
dangerous, or is it
Yeah, the
blocked off?
walkers aren't the dangerous stuff. It's more the people with guns and such, right? Where if you
Uh,
went the other two routes, there might be a couple people, but you could handle them. Where the other one's
and
just like swarming.
if you didn't do the side mission, you would have just
You wouldn't know.
it would have been a crapshoot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
So you
And
could have gotten
most,
lucky, but you could have gotten yeah.
yeah, because most likely you would have gone through the route it tells you not to because it's so obvious. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just go through this route.
Oh, that's where I go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's nice though because you do the optional mission, and in the woman, and the notes are so clear to read. And I always remembered in the Quest version they also used to be so clear to read. They always did a really good job. Where I've seen some VR games where sometimes it can be a little bit tough to read, maybe
Right. Yeah.
small, but it's just so big and such, and it's easy to read. And they obviously read out the message whilst you're looking at it. And then because I did the optional mission, she goes, go under the bar, and there's something that I've hidden for you. And there's like two sawed-off shotguns and a bunch of ammo, and I was like, perfect.
Damn.
And when I got to the tower, all things kicked off. Like after I played the radio mission, all things kicked off. I had loads of human enemies, and because I had these sawed-off shotguns, just blowing them apart, you know.
Dude, I
And
love a good start off.
no, yeah.
How's it look? How many bits do they get blown into?
It spreads a lot. The sorts shotgun spreads, and when you blow some off, the goriness of this game is really really good. And it was the same in Quest, but because of the visuals, how good it looks in
There's so much
PSVR
more.
and
Yeah.
PC, they look even better. Like there was one. I actually saved the clip on PlayStation. If I remember, I'll put it on the podcast, but if not, I'll throw it in the Discord when I do remember. But what happened was this guy who's shooting at me, and then a walker was behind him. So I just stopped and let the walker kind of fight him, and the walker
Hmm.
killed him. So, which was sick. So I ended up killing the walker, and then I ended up going to the guy, and the buddy's like his back, I don't know how to describe this. His back was bent, his stomach was facing the air, and his
Is it like
back was
glitching out?
bent. It was a weird kind of like the way he was just sat there.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. His head was beautiful, so I could get my machete and just so I chopped his head off clean off, and then I picked his head up, and then you know how like you
You're a monster.
I don't know, you go to like the Caribbean or something like that, and when they're making you a nice watermelon, they're like chopping the watermelon with the machete, just So I just
Yeah,
started
like a
chopping his
coconut. Yeah.
head like a coconut or a machete or a watermelon or something, and just sliced him in multiple pieces. And I was like, this is so this is so gory.
Oh, you could like cut someone's face off.
You can literally cut. You can go Hail Mary on their face. The goriness is I believe I remember you could chop people's head off and Walker's head off in the Quest 2 version, but I can't remember how gory it gets in terms of like what
Yeah.
else
How
you
many
can do.
pieces you could, yeah.
You could just keep going. Yeah, you could just like, right, I'm gonna chop his arm off and I'm gonna use his arm to like slap him or slap these walkers.
It's like playing sorcery.
It is, yeah, it is. It's really fun. I find it really relaxing just to go in there and go, okay, I'm going to do this one mission, go explore the whole town. There's a nice timer as well. When you go to a town, there's like a timer when it hits like a certain time, you got to get out of there because I think it's like midnight or dawn or something like that. Just
The
a
walkers come.
crap ton of walkers just come running at you if you don't get out of there in time. So it is kind of fun because it's more of a short burst of a mission. Like one mission would
Hmm.
take you maybe 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes if you're really exploring or so. And then you're like,
So
after
you
you
know
do
you
it,
have a
you're like,
timer.
yeah. And then after you do it, you're like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to take the headset off. I'll come back and do another one afterwards.
Breaks
So,
it up. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm not looking forward to the night levels that are coming up, which I know about because I've seen other
That sounds
YouTubers
scary.
post it and those look pretty scary. But yeah. Are you going to play any more of it, or did you just want to jump in and just have a look, kind of?
Yeah, probably not,
Yeah,
if I'm
that's
being
fair.
honest.
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's
I bought, we'll get into it, but the Steam sale right now for the spring, and I bought a few games, so I got something to keep me busy.
the Steam wish list. I'll tell you now, it's a tough one. It's a tough
Dude, I
one.
had to cut back too. I actually put everything that was on sale that I like really wanted on my wish list into my cart, and I was like, all right, $300. We got to get this down to about a third of this.
The third of this wish list. Yeah.
And I did. It was basically just cut the biggest games.
Yeah.
Dead Space.
Fair. 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 But yeah, that's I mean, I think that's pretty much it in terms of Walking Dead. Just trying to think
Yes,
if
yes,
there's
yes, yes.
yeah, if you've not played The
Will you
Walking
finish
Dead,
it? You gonna finish
do
it?
it.
Or are
I
you gonna
want
go back
to.
and play the first one?
I want to. Though I also thought to myself, is like I'm into chapter two now. Why don't I finish chapter two and play chapter one as the prequel?
Well, but here's the thing: you can import your save, right?
You can,
You
yeah,
can.
you
It's
can.
just kind of cool.
I don't know what that gives you, if that like just gives you all the stuff that you crafted and
Yeah,
such.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm,
all your weapons and all that business, I believe.
yeah. I feel like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'm into chapter two now though. I'm like in depth into it, so I'm more okay, I just want to continue playing this and then
Yeah.
then we'll maybe eventually come back. But yeah, no, I'm loving it. I know people in the Discord, I can't remember the name, but someone posted the other day or a few weeks ago that they just got chapter one and they are loving it as well. And they wanted tips. And my tips would be
Oh yeah, yeah.
just to use melee weapons more than anything. Like save your guns for the human enemies because you'll need your guns then. Because they all have guns, and it's very difficult to go up to them in melee. You'll be dead. But save your guns for that. But melee, everything, every single one. It's like
Just boom.
I've got this. It's not a machete, but it's like It's like a butcher's knife in a way. You get it very early on in the. You must have had it too because you get it
Yeah,
right at
yeah,
the
yeah,
start, right? And I keep using that and I mean, I'm not even
yeah.
holding their heads. I'm just going bang, next one, bang, next one to the head, and it's just I'm just having a great time. I'm just having a great time. If you thing is, it's funny. I've been playing in the living room and I've got the windows right there. So if anyone's looking into the windows of my house, it's just like, what is this guy doing? Just like,
Macheting.
just macheting. So yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about more about it once I've played more. But yeah, that's Walking Dead. What else have you been playing?
I played some Walkabout, group of friends and Dave. And I played some Labyrinth
Yeah.
hard mode, unlocked the club for myself on Steam finally, and
Nice.
yeah, had a good time. Hole 16, I believe it is, a par five, and I hit a incredible shot up the side and around the ramp by the rooster. Sounds like a story, I'm telling.
Does
They're
it?
like I'm giving like so many directions to like my farmhouse. But yeah, I got an albatross on that one, and then ruined
Nice.
my next two shots to finish above par. Um,
Yeah.
I got into some Resident Evil 7 VR mod, played a
Hmm.
little, basically 15 minutes, 20 minutes until I could sense the first enemy was going to be coming.
Mm.
I was like, nah, I'm out of here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a scary world to be in.
Absolutely. Yeah. But
Unpleasant.
are you gonna go back and do it?
Yeah, I might. I might. So I tried Resident Evil 2, but I couldn't get the mod to work properly.
Right. Okay.
So I was like just in the mood to hop in, so I just got it.
Can you remember what the boss was? I can't remember who the first boss.
Boss?
Yeah.
In Resident Evil? It wasn't a boss I got to. It was just like walking around a house. I just meant like I didn't even see an enemy, dude. I could just
Oh,
sense the
I thought you
first
said you
enemy. No, no,
got
no. No, 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 dude. First enemy. Like I was like, ooh, I'm gonna run into a zombie or something here. I'm out.
I misheard you. Did you say Resident Evil 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got to the part at the start where at least you're on the
It was
table and they're feeding
it
you
like it cut to
a
like a
tape
VHS
recording?
tape recording, and that's where
Oh,
I was like, ooh, no,
oh,
this
that
is
part. That part, yeah.
yeah.
You'll be fine. No, no, I try to see the tape part is that was the demo. They released a demo before it came out, and it was just the tape part, and you'll be absolutely fine. I promise.
Basically, what I think I'll have to do is play the game flat, like a level, and then play that in VR. Like, I think that's what I'll have to do
That's kind of
if I
how I
do want to do
played.
it.
That's how I kind of played it because then I knew the scares were coming, so I was
Yeah.
okay a little bit. I ended up just getting numb to Resident Evil 7 and just finishing it in VR. But the initial like 2, 3 hours was yeah, I already played it in flat screen, so I knew what was happening.
You know, I
But
was going, yeah.
definitely go through that part because that yeah, sure, it's a little scary, but it's not as bad as you think, and it's more to tell you how to progress after the tape recording is done.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So don't worry about that, but worry about after that.
After that, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, in that same vein of mods, I tried to get Skyrim modded finally, but I cannot get the mods installed. It keeps failing. I think my computer thinks it's a virus, so I have to whitelist something.
Sure.
It's obviously I have to go a little bit more in depth than I care to want to, but eventually I'll get this working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, went by the arcade and played some Ultimex with Toye. That was pretty fun. We played one on one.
Yeah.
We played two or three games. It's very fast paced. I can't imagine even like 2-on-2, honestly. You move
Yeah.
around. People don't know. It's sort of like Rocket League is soccer,
Mm.
with mechs that shoot, and
Shoot
there are
from the arms,
points.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, shoot from the arms, and there are points all along the map, or the field, if you will, that you can teleport to, and then there are power ups that you can pick up.
And it's free to play.
Um,
So if anyone's
it
not
is free
played
to play. Yeah.
Ultimax, definitely try it out. But if you're very new to VR, maybe not yet, because it may get you motion sick by jumping around. They do really well with
So here's the
portals,
thing. I was gonna
but
say it's like it's essentially teleport movement.
yeah.
And then you just stationary on those points.
Hmm.
but it is a lot of like looking around, like the ball's freaking all over the place.
Yeah.
So it was I kept like getting lost there, and then I kept forgetting that I have two arms and I would only use
Yeah, you
one.
just do your dominant hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was an issue. So I just like I had to train myself to be like, all right, this arm I'm just going to teleport around with. This arm I'll shoot with mostly, but you can shoot with both. And then after you shoot the rocket, you can control it in the air as long as you hold the button down. So you're
Mm,
like tilting your wrist, trying to guide this like rocket into the ball while the other person's also hit. It's pretty cool. It's pretty
nice.
cool. It does. There is probably like I was just playing Toya, who wasn't that great. He did school me.
Sorry to hear.
Uh,
Wait,
yeah.
he wasn't that great, but he beat you.
Oh yeah, he crushed me. Yeah, but he had played before. But
Fair.
yeah. But I'm not great.
I
But
played with
there's
PJ when it first
people
came
play
out.
this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it with PJ and it was fun. It was so much fun. I just haven't played it for a minute, but it was so much fun. It was good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much interest I have in like playing random games against people, but it's free, so it's easy to play against anybody, really. Like if you have a friend, you're like, hey, just let's
Yeah,
play a
just
game.
download it.
They're
It's
very
free.
quick. You can change it's very customizable. You can play 3, 4, whatever minutes
Hmm.
you want. And then there are a few different mechs. I didn't really, is a whole layer that I didn't really get into. The different mechs, I believe, have different power-ups.
Yeah, I did like I pref my favorite mech was I think it's called the Titan, but he was a big dude. He was like
That's the
he
one
was
I
like
played as, I
American
think.
football
Yeah.
player
It
looking like
was,
mech. Yeah, yeah. That
yeah.
was my favorite one to play with. But yeah.
That was also who I chose. And then I'm sort of burying my lead here because my most amount of time in VR this weekend was spent in Vertigo Remastered, which is Vertigo's a game, PC VR game, came out in about 2016, made by one person, I'm pretty certain, pretty much very small team,
Mm,
and remastered it a year or two ago, I believe, in preparation for Vertigo 2 coming out, which is coming out in next month.
nice. Is that straight to
Uh,
PC VR as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
judging, I did hop also into Vertigo 2 demo, but I'll get into
Okay.
that in just a bit. This game is incredibly fun.
Mm,
Captured my interest. I like got sucked in. I beat it. Like there are very few games I beat. It was about 4 hours, a little over
yeah.
4 hours, and I played it in two-hour sessions or so.
Mm,
Uh, it feels like an ode to Half-Life, like a fan-made ode to Half-Life is what it feels like.
yeah.
Slow pacing, you're shooting robots, and some like light puzzling platforming type of deal.
Someone said Portal mixed with Bone Labs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's a lot of physics. It's physics-based kind of
Yeah.
like type of deal.
Nice. Nice.
Um, there's like three big boss fights, very fun, with each with what do bosses have like levels, like
Yeah.
1 round, 2 round, 3 round type of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Slowly things change or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, you get a teleport tool, you have a lightsaber tool, you have just a pistol, you get a
Mm,
machine gun, and then very end game you get a minigun, and oh my God, the minigun is fun.
yeah. That's good.
Just a second, I've got a cough.
Okay. I was about to say,
All
whilst
right.
you're coughing, VR Grid, who you've just discovered, they said it's Half-Life the cartoon. That's their like opening statement to the review.
Yeah. And it's got a plot. It's not too deep. It's like you find radio recordings type of deal.
Mm,
There's some cutscenes. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that this game was made by so few people and in 2016.
yeah.
And quite honestly, it makes me want to go back and like rewatch content and
Hmm.
like learn about all the crazy things that we've missed by not being in VR early on.
I think there's a lot of games in 2016 to 2018 that have now kind of been forgotten because they're just locked on PC VR and
Yeah,
it's peak PC VR in those years. I think it's Half-Life, I think 2018 or 2019, but the rest
yeah,
of them,
2019.
yeah, but the 2016 to 2018 era is like peak VR with the amount of games that are on there.
There's just so much potential. People were like throwing money in it. Yeah.
Throwing so much money at it and yeah, really making really fun and unique titles suited for VR rather than just trying to copy something from a fat screen or something like that. Like really thinking about this is a game that can only work in VR or could work perfectly in VR.
Yeah, this game definitely feels like it's built for VR.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I recommend it. It's on sale right now, but if you're listening to this after Thursday, it's probably no longer on sale. So I recommend just wishlisting it or buying it full price. Also, Vertigo 2 demo is free. Um, and I hopped into that. It's about a half hour long, and it's basically Vertigo like on roids. You're like, oh my God, these graphics
Nice.
are way better. They modified the guns, cool new enemies. And yeah, now I'm looking forward to Vertigo 2.
What do you know when the release date is again? Oh, I'm not sure.
Not exactly, but it's April, I believe.
This year?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice. So it's probably one of your most anticipated games this year now.
Oh, here we go. Release date, March 30th.
Oh, March. Oh, wait. That's round the corner.
Next week. Yeah.
That's round the corner. Right, you're solid. No, Vertigo 2, I'm looking at the screenshots and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I wonder if they're ever going to try and port this to maybe PlayStation at least, or even Quest, like a low
Quest 3, who
resolution.
knows? It looks like the first one could probably be played on Quest 2. I mean, in
Yeah,
2016, computers were not
I
that.
think I feel like if this game does really, really well, there's a good chance that Meta give them a bunch of money to port it to Quest 3 for sure. You'd think so. That's why I'm still thinking that Lone Echo would finally come to Quest,
They
you
gave
know.
up on it. They gave up on it.
Not Echo VR, Lone Echo. They just kind of released Lone Echo 2 and then just like, yeah, whatever.
That's
Okay,
what I mean.
let's
They gave up on it.
madness. Anyway, madness. Um, well, just real quick one, just to throw this one in. I hopped into Gravity Sketch for the first time on Thursday with Doc, who's a friend of the show and on the Discord. Um, Gravity Sketch is really cool. I think even if you're not thinking of, oh, I don't want to build a 3D model or anything like that, it's just if you're ever into like tilt brush kind of thing, the 3D art or so, you can kind of do that in Gravity Sketch because it has the tools and it's not it's very hard it's probably be hard to master. Like you probably have to take a few turns to get used to it. But in terms
Watch a
of just
video or two. Yeah.
yeah, there's some good tutorials in there and such. But it was just really fun. Just you could get
What
lost in there.
What were y'all doing? Was he showing you some projects he's done, or were y'all
Yeah,
building
so
a
I was ambitious. He said, "What do you want to make?" And I was like, "I want to make a Pikachu." And then I quickly realized that this is not going to happen.
You should have
Because of
chose like a electrode or something,
yeah, yeah,
the
exactly, just
Voltorb.
a ball,
Yeah.
exactly. But that was definitely not a great idea. But he was starting to get the body a little bit. Because Doc's put in a few hours at least into that. But he posted on our Discord for Thanksgiving this little Thanksgiving scene with like a bunch of
Hmm.
animals, with a bunch of fruit and
A
apples and
cornucopia.
such.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the table. And it always looked nice, the screenshot you posted in Discord, but you never really appreciate it too much until you saw it. He showed me in Gravity Sketch, and I was like,
It's like
oh,
going to the
wow.
world. It's like
Yeah,
in 3D. Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
full on, it feels like a walkabout world in a way. And he said it didn't take him long, but it was a few hours of work for sure. I don't know what he said. I think I want to say he said 10 hours or something like that, or whatnot. I can't remember, but it was just beautiful, and you really appreciated all the different elements and everything that he had to do, to make the
Because
scene.
everything had to have his
Everything
hand in
came
it.
from a cube.
Yeah,
Like everything
yeah.
started as a cube, and he made like a bear from a cube kind of thing, and it was really well done. And it was as soon as I saw his, like I was kind of losing faith a little bit when I was just stretching a cube and didn't know what I was doing. But then when I saw what he'd done, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it didn't take him long to like learn how to. That was a second
Yeah.
project, so kudos to Doc for making the Thanksgiving scene. If you haven't seen it, then I'm sure he will listen to this. Doc, can you please post the Thanksgiving theme in our Discord again? Just so people listening to this can see it who may have missed it because we've had a bunch of Discord people since. But yeah, if I would recommend Gravity Sketch if you're just
Sounds
curious.
like we need like an in world VR recording as well.
Yeah,
For some scale.
for some scale, so you can really kind of appreciate it in a way.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. And then the last thing for me in terms of what I was been playing is a non-Quest title. So I kind of want to mention it at the end because I know I asked the kind of the audience if there's anyone who owns PSVR 2, and we did get a few comments last week from people who do own a PSVR 2, and I think someone I remember saying, I haven't got the comments in front of me, said this Quest has been like sitting on the shelf just collecting dust,
Yeah.
and just he's just been playing Golf Plus if he's going to play it or something like that, where everything else has been PlayStation VR at the moment. So Switchback VR is one of my, I think maybe my most anticipated PSVR title because I just like what it was doing, and what it is, it's an on rails, you're on like a ghost train kind of thing, and you have two guns in your hand which has unlimited ammo, so unlimited pistols, unlimited ammo pistols, and there's obviously zombies coming at you, there's all sorts coming at you, and you're just trying to shoot.
This is
And
kind
they
of like an arcadey.
Yeah, definitely like say like a pistol whip minus any music, right? And
Hmm.
you're just going on this ghost train. And it has all these elements from the Dark Pictures games, if anyone's played any of those horror games before. You don't have to play them to play this at all. And one of the things that really got me excited in the trailer was the eye tracking, where there was parts of the game where if you blink, you'll get scared or so, right?
Yeah.
And so
Don't
I bought.
blink.
Hey, so
Don't blink.
don't blink. No, it will say don't blink, and it's hard when someone says don't blink, you blink.
Yeah.
You
Don't think
blink.
about an elephant.
Exactly. What was these pink elephants I'm thinking about? Um, so I bought this game. This was $40 US, which sounds very expensive, but for a PlayStation VR 2 game, that sounds like the kind of going price.
Yeah.
Um, I guess console games are just a bit more expensive. You got to think, I think you mentioned it in the Discord where mobile games switched to Quest 2. They're always going to be cheaper, but probably because of the assets and such, and it's just how different prices are in different platforms. But I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. I put the headset on and
Did
I was like,
scary enough?
it's scary enough, but there's a lot of it's just cheap scares. Like it's most of the scary parts are just they're just
There's a
kind
couple
of
jump scares.
jump scares only, right? That seems like the most scariest parts is jump scares. And I've only been scared once, to be honest. I've played it for maybe an hour, and I only got scared once. There's about five or six big jump scares, and only once because every other jump scare you kind of anticipating it happening
Hmm.
because it puts you in a scene or it removes your guns from you so you can't shoot and you're like, oh, okay, something's gonna happen here, or your cart just stops and nothing happens, and
Hmm.
you're like, okay, yeah, I'm preparing myself. There has been a couple of times where I've like took the VR headset off a little bit, so I've like, just in case. But the
You know you can
disappointing,
just shut your eyes, right?
well, I mean, unless you blink, don't blink, right? What if I open my eyes and it's
You
like,
just leave them closed.
yeah, just leave them closed for the whole ride and just.
Yeah. Don't blink. All right, I'll never open them.
But there's a couple of things that I'm really disappointed. I don't want to speak too much about it because obviously it's not a Quest game. But one is that the guns didn't feel good to me. Even with the adaptive triggers, when you have the minigun or some of the more special guns, it felt better. But when you just have the pistols, it just didn't feel that great or satisfying to like shoot them and
Even with
such.
the triggers, the adaptive triggers.
Yeah, I wish they had like pistol whip feels better. Like pistol whip's guns feel better. And I'm not saying on a PlayStation standpoint and a Quest standpoint, the pistol whip's guns feel better, without adaptive triggers. These ones just don't feel that great to me. And it doesn't look that very good. It's not the prettiest game. It didn't really bother me too much, but it
I've read
doesn't
about the blur.
there's a bit of blur, yeah, but it's more about I never had too many issues with glitching and such. It's more about this feels like a $20 Quest game than a $40 big console exclusive kind of game.
Mm.
Um yeah,
I
and
mean,
it felt very
you are
repetitive too.
you knew you're gonna be on a roller coaster, and then it's basically a wave shooter.
Yeah, it basically a wave shooter. It felt very
But
repetitive.
you're not a leaderboard type of, it's for people who want to chase leaderboards, I
It
get the
does. It is
sense.
about who people want to chase leaderboards. Yeah, and I think I don't know what it is about the game that I was expecting, but it just never grabbed me, and I just was like, okay, I kind of want to go back to Walking Dead or back to Resident Evil if I wanted, or Resident Evil definitely for more of a horror,
Right,
right?
right, right. Yeah,
It was
it's not
disappointing.
like a horror, yeah.
Yeah, it was disappointing. But the Supermassive Games who make Switchback, they've put out a re press release that said they know about the complaints and the issues, and they're working on fixes and such. So
Hmm.
hopefully they fix it. But in terms of what it looks like and making it a little bit sharper and such, but I still felt just didn't feel that very engaging. But that was my initial 1 hour thoughts of non-Quest title. Anyway,
I've heard it's about like 4 hours or something, a little over 4 hours, but there are
yeah.
multiple routes or like five or six routes on each level that you can, in theory, change it up.
Yeah, and I think the environments are a little bit mad. The first environment's pretty good because you're on like a broken cruise ship and such, and they're trying to do like a bit of a story too, which take it or leave it.
Yeah, I've
But
heard
it's this thing like
leaves something to desire, so to say.
if you want an on-rail shooter, the best one to get by far is Pistol Whip. Sure, you're not going to get the horror, um, but it
Yeah,
just
Pistol is more like a rhythm game than it is like a
it
yeah.
is, but you don't have to treat it as a rhythm game too. You can literally just go in and shoot and not worry about the rhythm, like not worry about
Right.
timing it with the rhythm to get the more points. Like you could literally have a good time without it. And the stories in the campaigns for Pistol Whip are really good and really fun. The boss
That's
fights are
true.
really
Yeah, yeah.
fun. So if you're going to spend this much money, if you are for the people who do have a PSVR, just get Pistol Whip. And if you haven't got Pistol Whip on Quest get it because it's a really fun on rails shooting, which does have rhythm. Of course it does, but
That's true.
it's so much better. Anyway, any more games that you played or
No, not that I played. I did buy I've prepared basically to get Duke Nukem going on my quest via Team Beef's mod.
Mhm.
And I did buy Neon White as well, which has a VR mod. Um, so yeah, hopefully be able to hop into those this week.
Fair dues, fair dues. Okay, that will do for part one then. In part two, we will talk about our recommended seated games, because of a new Patreon. So we'll talk about that and we'll see you in part two.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
Okay, welcome back to part two. We're going to talk about our recommended seated games, and the reason why is that we have a new patron. So welcome aboard to Abyss. He's also joined the Discord as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We kind of emailed back and forth, and I asked him like, what kind of games are you into on the Quest? He owns a Quest too, and that's it. But he said, I mostly enjoyed relaxed and or seated type games and content. Last Clockwinder was amazing, and I'm working through Moss. Of course, I dabble with Beat Saber, and lately I'm enjoying Pop One now that's free to get started. So first of all, thank you, Abyss, for supporting the show. And what we wanted to
Yes.
do in this
We
episode,
also hopped into some Among Us, which is also a seated game.
it is a seeded game, and it is a seeded game, and if you like it, well, you played with him, right? You played with him
Yeah,
in.
that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, right. I understand what you mean now. Okay, let's go. What we're gonna do is we have a list each of kind of what seeded games we are, and let's just go through them. Let's just go through them. Sam,
All right.
start us off. Give us one of them.
Allow me to start off with a puzzler called Puzzling Places.
Hmm. What do you do in that game?
You build puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. Been a while since I've actually hopped into this one. It can also be played in pass through. So if you've got something going on, kid or whatever, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You can play Puzzling Places absolutely fine.
Yeah,
And I'm going to go ahead and rope in Cubism with this. I'm going to cheat, and I have
that's
a
fine.
1A, 1B. Because Cubism, same thing, can be played and passed through and is a simple puzzler.
Mm.
And both can be played with. Can Puzzling Places be played with hand tracking? I don't know. Cubism definitely can be.
Yeah,
So you can,
Cubism
in theory,
definitely.
you can just play with no controller, pass through, and boom, you're just like, you can be doing whatever. You can play it's pretty good for just hanging around there if you need to be aware of your surroundings and such.
Yeah. I don't have a clue if it's hand tracking for puzzling places. No, it
Mm,
doesn't. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't spawn. I'm not sure if they added it in, but they added the AR mode, which is the path through,
yeah,
like you mentioned. From that, I would like puzzling places is great. I have puzzling places. Not a big jigsaw guy. But it is very relaxing, and I know you love it, right? You spent a
yeah.
lot of time in it. I would say
Yeah,
if
those
you're
games are definitely not story games. They're not
no,
Moss, right? They're not,
no,
they're more shorter stints.
yeah. I would say if you are like, no, okay, maybe I'm not really into Jigsaw. Cubism doesn't matter what you're into. It's a really fun puzzling game. And like a brain teaser, and there's a lot of puzzles in there, and they get very hard.
Yeah. And I think there's user created content now. I haven't been in it in a while,
Okay,
but
yeah, I
you
haven't
can
been
make
that.
your own puzzles, and I believe you can and find other people's.
Yeah,
So in
Cubism's
theory,
great.
endless content.
Cubism's great. I mean, I might as well say what I would rope into that then is another block game, and that's Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect can be pricey. I can't remember what it is. It's like
I
$32
believe
and
it's $40 when not on sale, yeah.
yeah. Wait for the sale for this one. It's a great game. $40 is a lot.
Honestly, if you don't
It's,
own it, I think $40 is worth it. It is an excellent game.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it is a lot to spend on Tetris.
There's a
So
lot to spend on Tetris.
know
Yeah.
that you're buying Tetris. It is also multiplayer if you're into that, but this game is good.
It's great. The visuals are good. And the music's really cool too. So if you have headphones, it's great to put them on. I remember when I got this game for the Quest, I just used to sit up in bed and just play it because you just use your controllers by, thumbsticks and such. And it's really good fun. And as I've said on the podcast many times, I always found it very hard.
Yeah.
But
Oh
maybe
yeah, I hopped in again a week or
Mm.
two ago and I just can't beat this one level. I'm like, you know what? This is just where I die. I'm
Yeah,
not
this is
beating
just
this one.
my level of Tetris, and it's not getting any
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
I've plateaued.
I plateaued, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say Tetris Effect. Onto you.
On to me. All right. Once again, I'm doing a two for one with Pinball FX and Star Wars Pinball. Because if you're into pinball, once again, once again, I'm doing these like small games, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
I trust me, I got some others, but yeah, pinball. I love pinball. It's been a minute since I've hopped into pinball in VR. Mostly like frame rate wise, I found that I just
Mm.
wanted it on my monitor and my PC. But yeah, if this is your way to play pinball, it's a fine and dandy way to play pinball.
Is there a
The
better
pinball
one?
F
Like between is there a better one out of the Star Wars and the Pinball VFX, or are they
I,
pretty much the same? It's just a different theme kind of thing.
Yeah, from what I remember, they play pretty much the same,
Mm.
just different themes. The Pinball FX and Star Wars Pinball, I think both have DLCs. DLCs are expensive on Pinball FX, not gonna lie, and they don't ever really go on sale, I believe.
Mm.
But, I'm a sucker for Back to the Future, so yeah.
Sick. No, I've always ummed and ahed about Star Wars because you can kind of build your
Your room.
yeah, I mean, I would say man cave's kind of maybe not politically correct nowadays, but I don't know what the equivalent is.
Yeah,
Maybe just
yeah, you get like a little room you can
geek room,
customize all the yeah.
geek cave. Yeah, you can like fully customize a fan cave is what they say. I just read of it. They say fan cave. That makes more sense.
Nailed it.
And kind of like put the assets in there so you can get like a big Wookiee and put it in the corner and such. And people can come into your room and check out your room. So if you really like Star Wars, then
And
definitely
pinball.
gravitate to the pinball, Star Wars pinball. Um But yeah, they once again they also have DLC, like you said, and
Yeah.
I remember when this came out, you spent a lot of time in it. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
were
definitely.
talking about it a
Definitely.
lot when it came out, right?
Yeah, I do love me some pinball, but it's been a bit since I've been finding other vices.
I've just added this
But
to wish list. I think
a
I'm gonna
couple of the
pick this
good,
up. Yeah,
pinball FX DLCs. Like I said, Back to the Future's my favorite. It's also got Jaws, and
cool.
I believe A Walking Dead.
Nice. I've just wish listed. I think I'm gonna pick it up when it's on sale. The Star Wars one. I think it'd be a fun
Yeah,
time to hop in.
May 4th probably.
That's yeah, yeah, perfect. Next one I'd say is Chess Club. I spoke of Chess Club on this podcast many times. Chess. If you like chess, Chess Club is fantastic. It's really fun to play. Has hand tracking, which works really well because it's just picking up the piece and letting go.
Pieces.
They have good environments, and I love some of the environments that have pieces that actually move and like kill the other piece.
The
Kind of like Harry
animations.
Potter kind of style. Yeah. And the multiplayer is really good. I really enjoy the multiplayer. Every time I hop into it, um, go into multiplayer, and I don't think you talk to I've never talked to the other person, but it's just you having a game of chess, and it's kind of nice. I'm actually not sure if they do it how like the chess apps do, where you can take a turn and then it will just refresh. You can come at any time and just take your
Oh, I
next
see.
turn,
Yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
go to the next person. I don't know if it does that. I've never done that before, but
Asynchronous kind of.
yeah, but it's really good, and there's loads of different difficulty levels as well if you're just playing like single player or against a computer. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Highly recommend Chess Club. It's worth I can't remember how much it is, but I remember it's not that expensive and it's just worth it for what you get. I want to say it's $20, but yeah, it's Chess Club.
I did like me some chess club. Though
Mhm.
once again, haven't played chess in a minute.
I might
But
hop back in after this, to be honest. I'm in the
I
mood.
will I will stick to board games and I will list another game. I haven't hopped in a minute because it's a game I'd like to play with friends, and that's Catan VR or Catan VR. How do you say it?
I've always
You
said
can play it
Catan.
the
I've
same.
always said Catan.
Same.
So, yeah, Catan.
But
Who says?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I've heard that this game also, I mean, I haven't hopped in a while, so I don't know how multiplayer is, but I've heard that it keeps the children out or the squeakers because they don't really want to play a whole game.
Sure. Yeah, because it's a long game sometimes. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be quicker, but yeah, it's normally a long time. But I guess it's quicker in VR because you don't have to,
You don't have to clean up, dude,
yeah, you don't have
or
to
do
clean.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it just does. Yeah, it saves a bit of seconds there. Yeah, I've not played Catan in VR, but it's one of those that can you play against AI or anything like that?
You can. You can.
You can, but obviously, it'd probably be more fun against
Against people, yeah.
Moving on from board games, I will say Red Matter. This is probably doesn't fit into the relaxed one as much, especially the second game. It's a little bit more intense, but it is a seated. I don't know. I think you can play it standing, but it's a very much a seated game. I've always played Red Matter seated, because you kind of float around. It's same like Lone Echo. If you've ever played that on PC VR, I've always played that seated as well. And the first one especially is I find very relaxing because it's a obviously sure it's there's a proper story there and there's a few intense moments and it feels like it's gonna scare
It's a
you.
slow burn, though.
Yeah, it feels like it's gonna scare you and jump scare you, but doesn't. It's got like atmospheric kind of horror in a way, but it's not. It doesn't want to scare you at all, to be honest. But I always find that very relaxing, just floating around doing the puzzles and kind of trying figuring it out. Definitely not as relaxing as Cubism, but I
Yeah.
would still
But more
say
of a
it's a
story,
nice.
more of a game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you've not played Red Matter, I'd highly recommend it. It's got amazing visuals in Quest 2. Both of them have, but the first one's fantastic. So yeah, Red Matter.
All right, awesome. I too will switch to a more story-driven game. But this one's more of a platformer, Down the Rabbit Hole. It's sort of like a twist take on it's probably actually a story based on some Alice in Wonderland,
Hmm.
actual thing, but yeah, it takes characters from that. Pretty fun. I played this one. I imagine I got like 75 to 80% done. I don't think that I finished it. I think I got stuck on a puzzle eventually,
Wait,
but
what's
yeah,
the
I
game I
enjoyed
missed?
it.
I missed the game what you said.
You missed the game down the rabbit hole.
Down the river. I thought for some reason I thought that was in your sentence as like you were
Yeah.
describing
No,
it.
I have not gone down the rabbit hole.
Right,
That
right, right.
is that is down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I haven't played this one, but it has got good reviews for it for sure. I mean, I will keep going. I'll say the next one would be Demio. The reason why is because sure, Demio could be four players or two players, and technically you can play on your own, but it's not nowhere near as good if you're playing on your own because you kind of have to control everybody and such. But the cool thing about it
Eric for
is
president was really into playing skirmish mode alone.
really fair enough. I
Yeah.
just thought it was
But go
nice to
on.
kind of learn how to play it, but then it's like 100 times better with
With
people.
people, yeah. It is hard. I've heard it's harder.
Yeah, for sure. But my what I'd say about it is that you have a like hangout mode where you can kind of chill out, paint models in there as well. Which will be super relaxing. And if you're into like the Dungeons and Dragons or Warcraft kind of thing, if that's the type of person you are, definitely you're gonna appeal to that because painting models. It'd be cool once one day, hopefully they do, you can paint the model and you could submit it
And play
and
with
get it
them. Yeah.
ordered. Or you can just get it ordered. Like you can
Oh,
order
that'd be cool.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool if you can just like order the model and they'll like customize what your paint was and order it. That'd be cool.
Just take some pictures, post it in the Discord. Somebody will do that for you.
Someone will 3D print it and then you can paint it yourself. You can paint it yourself.
Exactly.
But yeah, after you.
All right. Here's one we play sometimes with the Discord people, real VR fishing.
Mhm.
If you like fishing, it is relaxing. Mostly. I mean, you're just catching fish. It's not too intense. And it's beautiful looking.
It's not
Yeah.
even mostly relaxing. It's always pretty
I mean,
relaxing.
sometimes the music gets intense and you get a shark and stuff,
You
but
get a shark. I've never
it's
had a shark.
okay. You could. I have, yeah.
That's fair. Just sitting there, just oh my gosh, I've got just caught
Yeah.
jaws.
But yeah, you can play alone. You can play with people. You can have YouTube going.
The
It
environments are photo really
yeah,
realistic too, um,
exactly.
which is nice. Uh, yeah, I mean, I've have it. I don't play it much at all, but whenever we hop on Discord, it's fun to do. Just because we're
Yeah.
more like hang out and just talk rather than we still fish, but
Fish.
then
Yeah, yeah.
more of a
Fishing's a
talking.
secondary. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. On a similar kind of, no, actually, no, it's not similar at all. I want to say Vermilion, the painting app Vermilion. Reason why this is, I would say this is even more of a special mention because they just had the multiplayer update recently. So now you can have up to four people in the same room painting,
Paint night.
which is like a yeah, date night, which is perfect. But also, next Saturday, I know, I think it's Doc's birthday in the Discord, and a few, I think four people have already kind of put their name down to paint in VR with some wine or some bourbon or something like
Mhm.
that, which is cool. But yeah, I think this will be if you like to paint. I mean, if you don't even know how to paint, Kimberly, patron of the show, she says she doesn't really know how to paint or draw, and because of the tutorials,
You
she's
gotta
like,
Bob Ross it. Yeah. Somebody
yeah, there's
teaches
like
you.
you Bob Ross it, and the paintings that she's put up in the Discord have been very impressive, especially for someone who says that she can't really paint or anything before.
Yeah.
Like
Almost makes you question if she's lying.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
see your painting.
yeah. After you.
Uh, Angry Birds. If you know what
Oh,
Angry Birds is, and if you don't, just Google it. Angry Birds. It is what it is. It's
that was
pretty
also,
fun in VR.
I forgot that was on Quest, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really see anyone talking about it now and again. I guess that
It's an
Angry
old
Birds
one.
craze is kind of
Resolution games, though.
yeah. Yeah. The last one I would say, and then you can kind of reel off any more that you have, is just Wander. Wander's more of like a Google Street View app. Reason why I say I haven't tried it myself, but once again, I just mentioned Kimberly. She loves going into Wander, and she's always had a great time. The cool thing about Wander too is that you go into the streets of New York and you're looking at a building or a shop. You can kind of backdate it, so you can go to like 2009 and
Different
kind of see
years,
what it
yeah.
looked like, which is really cool feature of it. But Wonder, I believe they're the same people who make Supernatural, and the environments in Supernatural are beautiful and really well done. And I think they kind of got it from the experience of doing Wonder, and it's only I think $10 or less.
It's pretty
So
cheap, yeah.
if you want, if you're into that, then for sure go for that. But that's kind of rounds off my list. What else do you
Uh,
have and such?
yeah. Well, I've got I like to list this one sometimes. I have still not beaten it, but it's a puzzler car parking simulator.
Hmm.
It is what it sounds like, car parking. Um, you park the cars in different ways and try not to hit the other cars.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played that in VR, but I remember having an iPhone app which you do the same, and it's actually really fun. It's actually
Yeah,
really
it's not bad. It's show. It's show.
yeah.
In the fishing vein, if you don't want to spend money on real VR fishing, you can play bait, also resolution games. It's a free fishing game, and they just got multiplayer, I think.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Um, Next, I have a list of three that I've never played, so full disclosure there, but I do tend to keep up with VR games and news, so they do have good reviews, and I do want to get to them eventually. And here they are. They are Ghost Giant, The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, and Shadow Point. And I
Mm,
believe they're all sort of puzzler platformer type of deals. And you can play them all seated for sure. Um,
nice.
and I've heard good things about them all. So I'd go ahead and say I recommend them all, even though I haven't played them.
We
I'll
got
put
good
my name
reviews.
to those. Yeah, yeah. But like not even just like one or two, like everybody. And I've seen videos of them. All right. Anyway, I'm not gonna harp on this. Now I've got movies slash way more passive of like,
Mhm.
experiences, if you will. These I've done them all and I've tried them all. They're good, but you're generally not gonna like replay them. So take that for what you will. Maybe wishlist them all and then buy them when they go on sale. They are The Line, Gloomy Eyes, Battle Scar Punk was invented by girls, Madrid Noir, Paper Birds, both part one and two, and Baby Baba Yaga. I wanted to say Baby Yoda, and Wolves on the Walls.
hmm hmm
And
Yeah.
thus rounds out all of the seated games and experiences that I can think of.
That's a solid list for sure. If you're obviously into that rewind, and I don't think I'm going to put links in the description. I feel like that's a lot of work,
Be a
just
lot.
because that was a lot of games. But just rewind and obviously try and pick out some of them and let us know in the comments and let us know in the Discord what you think of some of those games. And if you have any more recommendations, once again, comments and Discords, tell us what some of your favorite seeded games there are, relaxed titles. I'm always curious. There's always a time for a place when you want to just sit down and just want to, there's not every
For
time you want
sure.
to get up and get immersed fully. Like you just want to sit down and play me some Tetris or something.
And there's definitely some that, weren't unlisted here that I could think of, but there's only so many you can list. Start
Yeah,
here when we'll have a part two some other time.
yeah, some other time. So once again, thank you, Abyss, for being Patreon and supporting the channel. And that will wrap up part two, our recommended CD games. And part three, we'll talk about the game that is out this week and anything else we want to ramble about.
Short part
So
three.
yeah, we'll see you in then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube, Spotify, and even Apple Podcasts. And if you really like us and you want to throw us $1, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. Hey, welcome back to part three, game out this week. And anything else? Samsung, take it away. What game do we have on the Quest 2 store this week?
I got game. He got game. She got game. We got game. This game is called Ghost Signal, a Stellaris game. Stellaris game? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on the 23rd. Ghost Signal is a VR action roguelite set in the Stellaris universe, where you captain your ship to battle a multitude of alien species, partake in dynamic space wars, encounter planet-sized creatures, gather valuable loot to conduct research, and more. No journey is the same. Will you find the origins of the mysterious ghost signal? Interstellar space battles, upgrade and customize, a never-ending journey, a universe full of wonders.
Yes, this is the game that's out this week. It says roguelite, but I think we were talking before the show that it looks kind of like a strategy game too from the trailer. And you
Yes.
spend all of it in space.
And
You're
it
in
seems like
space.
it has asynchronous multiplayer, like you can loot other people's ships when they're not in them. Also appears to offer hand tracking and or not hand tracking.
Interesting. I'm curious to see what the reviews are for this one. It's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but it's funny, the games now on the Quest, the ones that we always say on part three, is that they just keep coming out with no real marketing or anything, and it's just like,
It's vaguely normal
it's just
for
vaguely
what
normal.
seems
Yeah,
normal for VR.
it is. Yeah, it is. Which kind of makes you wonder is that the Quest, the gaming showcase must be soon, right?
I don't think they've talked about it, dude. Actually, somebody was mentioning that in a podcast. I don't think there's going to be one because they would have already mentioned it.
Yeah. Let's see when the last one was out. The last one was out April 20th. April 20th. So that's
Yeah,
exactly a month from when we're recording this podcast.
yeah,
And they haven't mentioned anything that it's coming or anything. Yeah.
exactly.
Interesting. I'm wondering if they're just not doing anything and just because it will make sense in a way where they'll push all the games out to Quest 3 and they don't want to show them off until Quest 3 is shown off. So then
But
they
you want to
can,
hype up Quest 3, don't you? You want to like start that hype train.
you think, right? You think.
Like, ooh, I want these games. Ooh, I need a Quest 3, or I'm gonna have to play these on a Quest 3 to really get the, I don't know.
The better
Yeah.
visuals and all that stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it was rumored that there's going to be 41 games slash apps on launch kind of release window for Quest 3. So I don't know if it's just all getting delayed or such. Or it's weird, yeah, because they've done it 2 years in a row, and sure, they've only been like 25 minutes long, but it's still a nice little, oh, let's see what's happening kind
Yeah,
of thing. So yeah. Anyway, we'll continue to be in the dark when it comes to VR and release dates until they kind
for
of come
sure.
out a week before. All
Ghost
right.
of Tabor had a huge like friggin' party in Orlando though, but that's PC VR.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that. What's his name? Tech Man was there and such.
Yeah,
The
Sally,
Ghost of
Bradley,
Tomorrow.
everybody.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Anything else? Anything else going on that's not VR? Do you want to talk about or no?
No, just I didn't do much flat gaming, I guess, from what I
No.
can remember either. Yeah.
I've just stopped.
Um,
I've just stopped flat gaming. Now that PC PlayStation VR coming out, I'm either playing on the Quest or I'm playing on the PlayStation VR. Or I'm not playing at all.
well, I did buy the Hotline Miami, so
Yes. Have you played it yet or not yet?
no, not yet.
Oh
Not
my
yet.
gosh, that's what you're going to talk about next show. I'll tell you now. Hotline Miami. What an incredible game that is. John Wick in oh, it's amazing. I'm not going to say anymore. Just play that game. And such. But yeah, that's everything then from
So,
us. We'll see you next week for another episode of Let's Talk Oculus.
yes, yes, yes. We will continue to Let's Talkulus next week.
Let's talk us. I love it. All right, see you later, everyone.